Hello all, Jeff here with a new video. There is a new March car pack from Forza Motorsport 7. In my opinion, it's not as good as the January and February car packs. Could be better. There's a bit of cars that probably don't belong in Forza Motorsport 7. There's also a couple cars that we kind of already got in the game. Nevertheless, it's not the worst car pack. Probably the November one is still the worst by far. Sorry, December. But this car pack is a part of the car pass. One car pack left in the car pass before you start paying extra money for new stuff. Anyway, here is the first car I'm going to review. It is the 1932 Alfa Romeo 8C2300 Spider. Now this, as I said just then, this car was built in 1932. Long time ago, and look, it still holds its own, but in the world of Forza it is pretty slow. It is in stock trim, it's E-Class 290, so whenever the E-Class hoppers arrive, this might actually be a good car. But as you'll see here in the straights, catching up to a Ferrari Dino as we exit Parabolica, main straight. Now as I get into fourth gear, I've got nothing, and the Dino just breezes past. And on the right, you will see the Project Scorpio Edition Raptor just driving straight past, no effort whatsoever. And again, next lap, you'll notice that I end up getting passed by a Subaru Legacy, a very old Legacy in that. But in terms of homologation, both the Grand Prix A-Class, so it actually turns out to be pretty good. But for its age, really good car. Next one is the 2017 Chevrolet Colorado ZR2. Now you may be thinking, whoa, come on, another off-roader in the game. Yeah. To be honest, I'd rather wait for this car in Forza Horizon 4. But in saying that, a lot of Aussies will actually be pumped to see a Colorado in the game, because the Chevrolet Colorado is sold in Australia as the Holden Colorado. Now we don't get the ZR2. I'm not 100% sure if the Colorado in America is the same as the one we get in Australia. But in saying that, this Colorado is 6 cylinders, naturally aspirated, and look how fast it's going down the main straight. It's not bad at all. I mean, yeah, it's an SUV, but for what it does pretty well. Whereas you look at the Raptor, it's either a supercharged V8 or a turbocharged V6. This doesn't have 8 cylinders. This doesn't have forced induction. Yet, I reckon in the modern off-roaders division, this will hold its own. As you can see, this is the last lap, last corner. Try and get around the outside the Nova, 4th place. Just didn't get it, but anyway. Next car, the Lincoln Continental. Something that I reckon Michael Townley would drive in GTA 5. Very similar to that. Now this car, I was expecting it to be like the town car of the 90s, where the driver of the car will be a servant or a peasant to a king, while that king is in the back seat sipping 20 glasses of champagne with his beautiful wife. This car's different though. This car is for the king to drive, and his wife is in the passenger seat sipping on her champagne while he's driving it so hard. The wife doesn't spill her champagne whatsoever, because this is a car to be cruising around, but you can still drive it fast, and it still does enormous things. And this car has that Ford EcoBoost engine, 4-wheel drive, so it can handle, it can go. C-Class 437 though in stock trim, so you'd have to do upgrades, and sport luxury, not the best. Next car is the 2017 Volvo XC90. Now, just listen to it. I was expecting this to be the most boring SUV in the modern SUV division. Yet it sounds like it's got VTEC. There's a good reason for that, because while this is a hybrid, so petrol and electric motors in the same car, the petrol motor has a turbocharger and a supercharger. So just when you thought this thing will get smashed by a Trackhawk, we'll probably still lose to a Trackhawk. This will get beaten by a Trackhawk, but not by as much as you think. So once you do all the upgrades for modern SUV, it might be right up there. But in stock trim, it's nowhere near a G-Wagon, it's nowhere near a Trackhawk. Look, it's nowhere near a Dodge Durango either. So, yeah. On a positive, it sounds mean. Now, to the race cars. First one, the 1988 Bob Sharp Racing 300ZX. This is the last race car Nissan that actor Paul Newman drove. Not long after that, he formed Newman Haas Racing, which was perhaps one of the most successful IndyCar, Champ Car teams going around, especially in the 90s and early 2000s. Anyway, this car, you may be thinking, it's already in the game. Well, the 79 280ZX is already in the game. I'd imagine that this 300ZX would be very similar. But, one thing to note with this car, this has ridiculous turbo lag. So, but once you get the momentum going, you're fine. But out of tight corners, you've got to be really easy on the gas. As I said, Paul Newman co-founded Newman Haas Racing in the 2000s. Pretty much dominated. His drivers won the Champ Car Championship from 2002 to 2007. Cristiano Dumata in 2002 and Sebastian Bourdais from 03 to 07. All thanks to this guy. Next car, the Jaguar XJR5. This was Jaguar's return to sports car racing, Jaguar's return to Le Mans. Now, just listen. It's got a V12 just like the XJR9. Now, this car was wasn't as successful as the XJR9, but if it wasn't for this car, we probably wouldn't have had those Jaguar Le Mans victories in 89 and 90. And as you can see, right up with it against an XJR9, against a Silk Cut car. So a bit of argy-bargy at Vale, and now Club, he's just like, nah, you go through. And one thing this car has over the XJR9 is British Racing Green. As we go through Maggots, Beckett's. While this car's from 1983, it's still an absolute beast around the corners. Yeah, I mean, you may think we've already got two XJR9s, why do we need the older XJR5? Kinda with you there, but it means more variety in that division. And Pops passed the Ferrari, and that's the win. So that's the second of the third race cars. And now to the last car in the car pack, and definitely the best. The Brabham BT45B. The first Formula 1 DLC for Forza 7. Now, just listen to the note. That's a flat 12 from Alfa Romeo. Now this was from the Bernie Eccleston ran Brabham team. Now you may notice there's something missing. It looks a bit plain. That's because the actual car was sponsored by Martini. Maybe thinking, why aren't the Martini colours on here? And you know, I find it really weird that they're not, because say you play Sega Rally Championship, was a game that was released in what, 95. You see that Lancia Delta, it's got the full Martini livery, uncensored. Why don't we have just the Martini colours but no mention of the word Martini on this car? It's the same with F1 2017. The Williams F1 car, you don't see any Martini anywhere, no flashes of red whatsoever. Yeah, I just wish the Martini colours were there, because it's a bit weird considering the cigarette liveries are still here, but the alcohol ones are not. But anyway, there's the car pack. There's some pretty good cars there, and there's some cars that don't really belong to the motorsport series, but it's not the worst car pack. But anyway, make sure if you like the video, hit the like button, leave a comment in the description below, and if you like to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button. Anyway, this is Jeff here, and happy racing. Cheers.